a lot of times you hear people say, "Oh, I was born in the wrong time," and I always tell people, "Oh no, I was absolutely born at the right time." And one of the reasons why is the incredible amount of output from so many different diverse acts and sounds and people and different things that I would have never wanted to grown up in another time other than when I did, because I got to see all this stuff firsthand. 1983 is one of those years. I was 8 years old in 1983 and constantly having my mind blown from the music that had come out in 82 and then all of the stuff that was coming out in 83. So we do our videos in fives. So I'm very aware that there were a ton of huge hit albums in 1983 that were not just these five, but these are five great albums I picked out to talk about from the year 1983. The first one, the first time we ever heard of Cyndi Lauper was when she released her debut record, She's So Unusual, in 1983. The biggest first hit off of it, of course, was Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Then you have the monster ballad, Time After Time. I would argue probably one of the most subtle songs that people years later, I know until 15 years later, I was like, oh, that's what that song's about, with the single She Bop. And then there's even a hidden gem on there a lot of people don't know about. She does a great cover of a Prince song called When You Were Mine. The record's just loaded. Like, it's just an incredible album to come out for your first album, and it's her debut record released in 1983. After that, one of those albums for me that had the feel of, oh, this is dangerous and this is scary, like Ozzy Osbourne type feel to it for me. Def Leppard and Pyromania record was released in 83, and again, it's loaded. There's stuff on there that wasn't even hits, like Rock Rock Till You Drop, and then enormous hits like Rock of Ages, Too Late for Love. I mean, it's just insane how good a record of with that much hard rock edge have pop sensibilities too. Like Photograph laid down the blueprint for how to do pop hard rock pretty much from that point out, and it came from Def Leppard's Pyromania record in 83. The next one, and this is where I talk about like the diversity that I grew up on and the different faces and lifestyles that I was able to see at such a young age that had an impression on me, is the Color by Numbers record from Culture Club. I remember vividly being in Kmart and standing at an end cap and buying that record and seeing everything else on the end cap that was released at the same time that didn't look anything like what that album does, and the sounds that are on that record. Of course, you've got the big hits with Church of the Poison Mind and Karma Chameleon and Miss Me Blind, but there's beautiful ballads on that record that most people probably have never even heard. Black Money, Victims. It's the diversity is not just on the album cover, it's in the soul of the performers and all across that record. So Culture Club, Colored by Numbers, is one I think it's just a gargantuan record that came from 83. Now you talk about an entirely different genre, and I feel an album that was released in 83 that didn't get anywhere near the love that it should, at least from the mainstream populace, until 10 years later. The self-titled record from the Violent Femmes was released in 1983, which is insane, the amount of different sounds on that record that just sound completely different from even from the albums that I've already mentioned here on this. I mean, there's nothing on the list that even sounds remotely like anything the Culture Club was doing, or Cyndi Lauper, and certainly not Def Leppard. If you've heard the song Blister of the Sun, you've heard the first track on this record, and then of course Added Up, Give Me the Car, Gone Daddy Gone. It's loaded. It's an incredible statement for their first record, and one that I don't feel it was a slow burn. I don't think it got anywhere near the recognition it deserved for many, many years. From that, and to round this list out, we go to one that is the definition of mainstream. Everybody in the world knew this album. To steal a line from Wayne's World, it's like this album came in the mail with samples of Tide, Huey Lewis in the News, Sports. Again, it doesn't get more mainstream, awesome, catchy hit single than what you're hearing off of this record, whether it was I Want a New Drug, If This Is It, Heart and Soul. It's just loaded. It's fantastic, great music. Heart of Rock and Roll just popped into my mind. This is again, wasn't trying to rewrite history or innovate in any way. Just honest, good pop music for people to party to, and I think that's why the mentality at the time was a lot of people wanted a release and good times for music, and that's why something like Sports sold so many copies. So those are 5 records that came out in 1983 that I think are just monster albums. We do have a follow-up video coming where Lauren's going to talk a bit about singles that were released in 1983 as well. So those might be from albums from the year prior as well. So that'll be a fun discussion. But by all means, let me know. Drop a comment below and let me know what your favorite albums were from 1983, and maybe some of the big ones that I couldn't include in my top 5. We always like to interact with you in the comment section. And as we always say, thank you so much for watching.